Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Health In, an affiliate program of Homeopathy World Community. And today is March 18th, 2013, moving into springtime, hopefully in many parts of the world. I see the trees blooming, and we're going to be having a special guest, Stephen Lewis, the developer of the AIM program of energetic balancing, co-founder of EMC Squared, the Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness, LLC, and co-author of this marvelous book, Sanctuary, The Path to Consciousness. Decades of extensive studies of quantum mechanics, energetic balancing, spirituality, consciousness, Oriental philosophy and medicine, and years of work with a variety of healing modalities, including homeopathy, acupuncture, and chiropractic, combined with the inspiration of numerous mentors, from physicists to the great spiritual teachers, led Stephen Lewis to several degrees in the healing arts and a highly successful healing practice in Santa Monica, California. The waiting list for new patients was known to be many months, even years. And we are looking for healing today. Everyone is looking for healing. He told me that Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Could we all have much in common with Humpty Dumpty? Well, we shall see. Could he have removed his propensity to go splat off the wall? Is there anything we can do to remove our own fault lines? Stephen Lewis is going to be talking about whatever ails us, I think. I have had an early morning conversation about the finances of the world, the exchange of money as energy, about aging, about keeping ourselves well mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And you're invited to join this conversation today. And also, I want to say Dr. Deepak Sharma, our co-host from New Delhi, will be calling in time. He's busy with his clinic this morning. Thank you. So welcome, Stephen.
Hello, Debbie. Thank you for having me on.
It's going to be a joy. We also have another caller on the line. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay. Well, folks, you can listen to NissanCommunications.com anytime and go to the Health In show to put yourself on the chat. Just enter your name, and we will be looking at any comments or questions that you may have there. You can also, if you're in the United States, call in to 919-518-9773, or if you're an international caller, to Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Okay, so we're ready to go, and just how would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners? We've got people from all over the world.
Well, my name is Stephen Lewis, and I am interested in extending and increasing our well-being with a spiritual technology. And that spiritual technology is my life's work. And if you have any questions about it, I'd be more than happy to share them with you.
Okay. We have a slide. Let's go to the first slide and see what it says. Amnon, you can help me out reading the next one. Go ahead. It's EMC Squared, the Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness. And we're celebrating, you have some kind of a connection to Einstein. Would you like to tell us about that?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's if I were a Catholic and you said I have some kind of connection to the Pope, I'd say, well, yeah.
Okay.
It's very much akin to that. I mean, Einstein, in 1905, his discoveries changed life as we know it. And he is fundamentally the father of quantum mechanics, of quantum physics. Everything that we talk about in this program can be discussed as a perspective that exists in spirituality or a perspective in quantum physics, and more accurately, a perspective in both. And that is the reason the work I do, I define as a spiritual technology. I don't think at this point in time, with what we know about the laws of life, what little we know about the laws of life, I don't think it's possible to separate the laws of physics and the laws of spirituality. Thus, we have a spiritual technology.
And we talk a lot in the Organon of Medicine from Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy, about the vital force, about spirituality, or an essence that really is an unseen force, except for the way it is materialized through our symptoms, through our life on Earth.
Well, it's unseen, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, electricity is unseen, but it sure can lighten up a room.
Yes.
It's that simple. Now, I refer to something known as life force because I like to speak in English. It's the only language I can use with any degree of expertise. But I mean, whether it's the language whether Hahnemann called it something else, or whether they call it chi in some other location, or prana, or Christ consciousness, or astral whatever, there is energy. It exists. It's real. And that energy is everything and everywhere. There's only one energy. Call it whatever you want. However, that energy does not manifest itself in any way that anyone can perceive. It is a wave. It is, period. It's everywhere. What we call life is consciousness impacting that energy. By virtue of our consciousness focusing upon that energy, we change that wave so that it is particulate. It is particles. It's real. That's what gives life smell, taste, size, time, space, consciousness. There's a reason that it's energetic matrix church of consciousness. E equals MC squared. Consciousness is fundamentally what we use to create our lives, for better and or for worse. Consciousness is everything. Energy is the raw stuff. You can't see it. You can't feel it. You can't say, I like it, I don't like it. It simply is. That's the end of the story. But its manifestations, that is the impact of consciousness. You could talk about that the rest of your life and not scratch the surface.
Well, we have to figure out how to get in touch with this consciousness, do we not, in order to be able to utilize it?
Well, you are.
I know, I'm living
all
and breathing.
Are. But let me ask you a question. Let's make it about you, Debbie.
Okay.
Are there things that you understand about yourself and about life that you didn't understand, say, a decade ago?
Absolutely. I understand very little, but I keep thinking I understand something.
Well, you do. But the point is, your consciousness has changed.
Yes, I agree.
Will change again and again and again. It's an ongoing thing. So you can't pinpoint this is conscious, this is subconscious, this is unconscious, because what is subconscious to you today may be just obvious to you next week.
Yes.
And that's why there's no end to consciousness. There's no end. There's always more. More of it and more of you to perceive and shape and partake of it. There's no limit to consciousness.
This is true. Can I give a quote? I was doing some investigating, some surfing on the internet, which I do constantly, and I came across this quote: match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. And that is a quote from Bashar, who is phenomenal, I think. I just came upon him last night. You want me to...
Yes.
Okay.
I think that is indeed the case. I think that fundamentally we create our own lives for better and or for worse. That's the good news and the bad news. But the good part of it is this: if you don't like the way you are, the way your life is, you can change it at up to any level, in any way. You are a homeopath. We can speak about stuff that you might call miasms, or someone else might call hereditary diseases,
or DNA.
Or a third name might be karma. Yes, but you can change that DNA. You can change that karma. You can heal your hereditary diseases. You can totally create what you need for yourself. You have that capacity. And this is earth-shattering news, because I don't know about you, Debbie. When I grew up, it's like you're supposed to hope you got lucky and everything was okay. And if something wasn't okay, you go to a guy who hopefully can fix it. If he can't fix it, you're in deep whatever. And that's the way it was. The idea of us being empowered was totally alien. It was alien to my parents, alien to my friends and my friends' parents. We just didn't have a clue about that.
I think it is revolutionary.
That is part of what must change. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It is revolutionary thinking. I have mentioned for years on blogs that homeopathy can also alter the DNA. In my humble opinion, it's not set in stone, but that's what I think. And people will obviously negate that statement or say I'm full of it, because it couldn't possibly happen that you come into the world and you have your set of DNA, and unless they do some kind of genetic manipulation, that's it. But I don't think so. I think that we can change it. I think we can change it as in the same way that for how many hundreds of years they say you have only so many brain cells, and that's it. You can't change it. And now they have changed their tune.
Well, I mean, let me comment on that very briefly, Debbie. Yes, homeopathy is something you can use to help change your DNA, without a doubt. It's kind of interesting that the people who scoff at homeopathy are usually physicians, and they scoff at it because a homeopathic tincture is something they can't look at it and see something. And since they can't see it, they say it does not exist. Correct?
Yes, they have a lot of reasons for saying it doesn't exist. But yes, that's one of them.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
They're also
if that's their criterion, and I accept that, isn't it sort of mandatory that every physician better be an atheist?
Well, I don't know where you're going with that. I'll just
because you can't see God.
No, you can't see God, but they don't put God into the equation of health. Most of them. I mean, some of them today are. Well, they don't accept the spirit part of it, and we know that the spirit part is it.
Correct. Everything has its spiritual component. It's funny how science tries to lay claim to spirituality. I mean, when Buddha spoke about being in the oneness, is that not speaking of life as a holographic process? Or when Jesus Christ said, "What you do to the least of mine, you're doing to me," is that not a holographic statement? So now we call it holographic, a word that probably Buddha and Jesus did not know. But that doesn't change a thing. So, I mean, these are laws of life. And these laws of life, many of them cannot be perceived as something existing in a microscope, but they are real nonetheless. There is such a thing as electricity, even though you cannot see the beam of electrons. You can see the room getting dark or getting light. There are things that are real. And most of what determines our life cannot be seen under a microscope, but it is nonetheless real. Homeopathy is energetic, and as such, it helps us recreate ourselves as we need to, as we have to. That's also true of acupuncture, which is also energetic.
And they're coming to understand. I think I really give medical science credit that they are inching like an inchworm, really slowly, to come to grips with things that are against their belief system, that it's so hard for them to jump that hurdle and get through the gate and go into a realm that has not made any sense to them before. We just put up an announcement on the Facebook page about using vitamins and chelation, which is completely foreign. And they're saying, well, we did the studies and it looks like it really, really works. And for cardiologists, and it heals the heart better than a drug. But you know what? We really can't accept that yet. We need more studies, even though it was before their eyes. And the same thing with quantum mechanics. It's a little bit, it's like really right beyond their reach. They can't touch it. It's just that far away from them.
Well, you know what it's like, frankly? It's like watching the glacier races. Watching two glaciers having a race. You're not going to hear a lot of cheering. When you say it's a little bit slow, yeah, it's the glacier races. I call that a little slow. What do you think?
I hear it scraping the earth. I hear I hear the ice melting off the caps and crashing into the ocean. I feel things are actually speeding up in our universe.
They are speeding up, and you know why that is, Deb? I believe they're speeding up because we have no choice. We are being forced to take a stand, and that stand is we must live life with greater consciousness if we are to survive on the planet. The planet's not threatened. We're threatened. The planet will be fine. You know, it's will we survive on it? And because that question's becoming to the front, the speed, the tempo is increasing. What was once a line in the sand is now a vast chasm. You can't miss it anymore.
Dr. Lewis, I just read an article that they were talking, where everybody's talking about global warming and how the negative, and I just read an article that NASA's satellite pictures are showing that the northern hemisphere, or the northern part is getting greener. And that's actually is a positive thing. And they were saying that it's getting green as far as growth, trees and.
That's called global warming. That means the ice caps are melting, and we're going to be underwater I don't know
I
that
don't
it's
know.
so good.
I don't know. I mean, if there's food, if
I think
I don't
I
know.
think that if you look at the strata, what we call global warming has existed a number of times in the history of our planet. And this is one of those times. These kinds of things can happen all by themselves without a reporter, you know. Strange as it may seem, they happen without a publisher or a newspaper. Global warming, I believe, has occurred a number of times. Now, it's happening now, and it will certainly impact some things, like what is real estate and what is waterfront.
Whether dinosaurs survive or not, and our extinction rate of the number of living beings on the planet is losing, the battle exponentially. So,
well, you know, that's a bigger question than that. Look, I'm not a Rosicrucian, but I'm aware of their very dire prophecies, because they say that the planet can only accommodate 650 million people. You're familiar with that?
well, I don't believe it. if I've heard of it.
I'm not saying you believe it or not. I'm saying they say it. Now, the point is this: there are animals in the world who monitor their own growth. For example, in the fjords of Norway, they've got these little things called lemmings. Familiar with them? Lemmings, when they think there's too many of them to survive without having to really compete unfairly for food, the older male lemmings march off a cliff. And that's their way of controlling population. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Now, they do control their population. We as humans don't quite do that. We will claim to say we're going to do it, and what we'll say usually is, hey, man, go ahead, I'm right behind you.
Amnon's laughing.
However, somehow, because of my poor upbringing, I suffer from a credibility gap.
Well, we're the outliers.
And so you see, there's always going to be population control. That's, I believe that's the Malthusian doctrine, isn't it?
There will be, yeah.
And that is actually a criticism of the AIM program.
Why is that?
Well, very simply because if people live to be, well, let's say 150 or whatever it may be, the population explosion would be disastrous on the planet. Well, I think that's possibly the case. However, let's just say maybe one lousy million people, including me, of course, can have it, and for everyone else, let it be the same as it is now. That way, we won't affect the planet with undue population, just our lousy million or 100,000 or whatever it is. It's already over 60,000, so whatever it is. That is that is a criticism of the AIM program. And it's, if you think about it, it's well-founded. So let's just make it a few people, including me and you, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
And
I'm an outlier. I'm not listening. Okay, so you know what we're going to do, because I kind of took you way off of any planned slides or anything. We have a caller. We have people on the chat who I wanted to let you know what they've been saying, or if you've been taking a look, so that the folks who are viewing and not on the chat can know what the other folks are thinking here. So who's calling in, please? We welcome you. Okay. Okay, so Gabby is a regular viewer. I want to wave hello. Says, try to imagine the consciousness is not part of your body, but part of the whole energy. You are an energetic being with a body, just now, not the other way around. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard that. The brain is a substation for changing energy in the bodily factor. We could talk about literally anything, since everything is energy. And I also want to know if Dr. Deepak Sharma is able to hear and has any comments about this talk today.
Yes. Hello, Debian. Hello, Stephen. Luis, I am listening everything.
Okay.
And just sharing my thoughts about the energy transfusion in the homeopathic medicine only. I am just thinking about the homeopathy all the time. So, Stephen Lewis, we are also transforming the energy from the mother tincture to the dilution by making a stroke and by making a potencies one by one, and goes to a CH potencies or different type of potency. I think everything happen in the world is just a energy transformation. This is always true, and you cannot change the theory till date. And it may be the reason that you found the greenery on the other part, and the global warming hurts the another part. This is just the energy transformation from the warm to cold, cold to warm. That is all happening in the world.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. So the different levels of energy, whether it is the earth energy, the mother tinctures, the global energy, it's all constantly transforming, changing states rather than, disappearing. It's always going to be here. So let's take a look at the slides that we have, just to pull it a little bit back together and learn more about what you do specifically. Although it's just fascinating to talk with you, Stephen, about anything on the planet. We have this book called Sanctuary, The Path to Consciousness. And this is written by yourself and Evan Slauson, the co-founders of AIM, Roberta Heldeck, and Evan Slauson and yourself. And this is a novel based on the real-life decades of your work. It chronicles the evolution of your private practice into the AIM program of energetic balancing, entertaining as it is, with wisdom and humor and compassion and all sorts of things. It's also available on the next slide via paperback or a CD audio set if anybody is interested in reading it. I think it's really a wonderful book. I have bookmarked about 10 or more pages of wonderful quotes here. So number 4, 3, and 4. I want to let the folks who are listening out there today know that the free sanctuary book to the first 40 listeners who go to your website, which is the www.aiminfokit.php. And for those folks who are out of the United States, or I don't know what you said, out of the Northern Hemisphere, will have to pay shipping. But everyone else, I think, and you can correct me on this book can be yours. So from the drop-down box, how you heard about this book and about AIM, select other and put Debbie B or health into there. In the comment line, type paperback or audio CD with the best time for EMC2 squared to contact you regarding shipping. So Can you tell us a little bit more about your book, or should I just pull out some quotes that I love?
Well, you know what? You are the host, and I would suggest you do what feels best for you, Deb.
Well, I just love this book because I resonated with so much of it. Let me see where I can just pick just about any page in here and say, yeah, I'm with you here. So, and of course, you're not hearing the whole beginning chapters of the story and the life and how a person wasn't well and needed help. But it says, there it is then. Maybe the question you should ask is, how is what I do the same as what doctors do? The answer is, in that no way is it the same. None of the things that might be construed as medical examination were performed. In addition, I told you that up front that what I do isn't medicine. You're having a small problem with terminology. And so it's a different way of looking at our health and what we were talking about before, energy and electricity. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that? And
I think it's important to understand something, that you begin with this concept and this reality. There's only one person in the world who can heal you, and that is you. Now, that being said, there are many things in this world that can help you in that process of healing yourself. And anything that helps you, that works, is a good thing, including medicine. That's fine. I could be persuaded to believe that the primary function of medicine in disease is to keep someone healthy enough to resist what is offending them, to resist what is making them ill, so that they can overcome it and heal themselves. I think that there's an argument to be said for that, because you heal yourself. Medicine does not heal you. Now, medicine can do a lot for you. Perhaps it can cure you, and the way of curing things medically has always been the same. Either use poison or fire or surgery. And if it works, that's fine. But that's not healing. If we have reached a point in time in our lives now where there are problems that cannot be dealt with medically, not given the state of our technology. We have reached a point where it is imperative that we heal ourselves. And that can't begin until we perceive that reality and say, okay, what do I begin to do for this process of healing myself? And that is what I think what you're talking about. It's about helping you heal yourself. The AIM program helps you heal yourself. Many things help you heal yourself. And whatever it is, if it works, it's a good thing.
Okay. And so there is another slide. It's number 5. It's the AIM developer. Quantum, you're talking about all these different methods of healing: quantum mechanics, oriental medicine, TCM, which I call it, homeopathy, acupuncture, spirituality. Prayer is a form of healing. And there is a relentless search. And so you have come across this program in your many decades to find on slide number 6, consciousness is more than simply awareness. You define this as the degree to which you perceive your connection to everyone and everything without exception. Is Gabby still on the line? Okay. We also have a caller. Gabby, can you hear us?
I do. Do you hear me too?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't know.
Do you have something to comment?
We must differ between medicine and medicine. as long as I speak about medicine as perhaps antibiotics. I have another situation, but if I speak about medicine as homeopathy, because homeopathy works with the energy of being, not against an illness or something like that.
Yes.
And as long as something works with my personal energy, because I am this energy, I can modify it if I'm ill, if I feel ill. Therefore, I think we speak about quantum physics in each case. As long as we speak about psychology or homeopathy or something else which is working on the whole system.
Working on the host? Working on the what? The whole?
On the whole system, on the energy
whole system. Okay.
Also acupuncture does.
Yes. So, Stephen, can you explain a little bit how the AIM system works?
Well, yes, I can. Fundamentally, its very power and strength is relentless. It does not take a break. You have your hologram on the program. That is how you are on. Now, your hologram is something that contains everything about you. It could be a drop of your blood. It could be a hair. But it need not even be DNA. It can be your photo. And we use photos for functional reasons. If I looked at 60,000 drops of blood, I can't look at them and perceive the difference. All I see is 60,000 little rust spots. However, or hairs, same thing. But if I look at a photograph, I can see, okay, this is Debbie and this is Steve, and you can see the difference very easily. But it is you, your hologram is on this huge series of trays connected to a massive bank of computers, broadcasting frequencies in, and this is my contribution to this huge field, units of consciousness. That is what I've contributed to this field. And everything in the world has a frequency in consciousness. And if there is a negative frequency, let's say the frequency of adenocarcinoma of the lung, there is a balancing frequency. If you need that balancing frequency, you will select it. And you will keep selecting it until you no longer need it. And that process of selecting is focusing on healing. You will focus on healing, whatever it is you specifically need to heal until you have finished healing it. Whether that something is something that you acquired 10 minutes ago, whether you acquired it last night at a party, whether you acquired it with an old girlfriend 10 years ago, or whether you acquired it from your parents hereditarily, ancestrally, there is nothing you cannot heal. The longer you've had something, the longer it takes to heal. However, everything about you can be healed by you. But you must focus on healing yourself. The real value of this is you don't have to sit in a corner in a lotus position and spend your life focusing. You can live your life and be focusing constantly at all times. Is it free? Not really. Whatever you have to feel, you're going to feel. If you are detoxing something that you've had for 10 years or something hereditary that you've had for 70 years, you will feel it coming out and leaving. And detoxing is not all that pleasant, but it is what it is.
So we're going to feel
it.
something. We're going to feel something as this process evolves over time. What are we going to?
Absolutely. You will feel it's akin to homeopathy that way, Debbie. If the things come in at the outer layer and then go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, as you heal them, that is reversed. I believe that's fundamental Hahnemannian healing, isn't it, as a concept? As you heal things, you begin healing, and then they come closer and closer and closer to the surface until the final stage of healing often will be healing something at your most superficial level, at the skin. And then it's gone.
Yeah, this is we call it Herring's Law, from the body protecting the major organs, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidney, the brain. And
I'm Herring's Law.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So
of course. Remember, I have a degree in homeopathy also, you know.
Sorry.
But,
for the listeners out there, I wanted to be sure that they understood the principle that we know we're talking about. So, yeah. I would like to understand how you know how to modulate whatever it is you're doing on the computer. How do you know when somebody has moved from one place or phase, into the next phase of healing, I guess? I mean, when something from 10 years or 20 years ago has left and now the body's working on something new.
How do I know? I have no idea unless I look.
How do you look?
I mean, I don't look at 60,000 people.
Okay.
I have a life. But it's going to happen inevitably. But we do checks at certain times just to see, is someone doing well, or is there something stopping their healing? There are things that can interfere with healing. And we check from time to time. But fundamentally, you can and will heal anything. You can do it. We can help because we don't let you take a break. If you are on the program at some point in time, because of Herring's Law, you will say, I wish I was off that tray for a day or so. I want to take a break from healing. But of course you can't do that. And you will continue until whatever it is you need to heal is healed. First, the stuff you've just gotten recently, up to and finally your deepest hereditary levels. And then they'll be gone. And then the question becomes, then what? And that's the big, big, big question, because as I wrote my article about Humpty Dumpty, I believe that when you transition, it's just like Humpty Dumpty taking a great fall. He broke along his fault lines. His fault lines for Humpty Dumpty the egg are what you would call hereditary diseases, or if you wish to be homeopathic, miasms. And if you don't have any weaknesses, whatever you acquire, you will just overcome. The reason you don't overcome anything, basically, is because you have these areas of weakness where you just don't have the wherewithal, the healing energy within you to overcome things. But if you have no fault lines, no weaknesses, you should overcome everything. Now, that's the theory. I think I'll try and hang around and watch and see, is that indeed what is going to happen? And you're invited to join me in our Life Watch.
Tell me about the Life Watch.
Well, that's what we're doing, I mean, you've got Judy on the line now. Now, Judy is what we call fundamentally a virgin. Virginity in the AIM program is something you attain. It's not quite the same as life. She has healed every hereditary imbalance she had, every disease, everything. Her potential for disease, I believe, energetically no longer exists. And so, she can speak about what caused the demise of her parents or grandparents, etc., but all of those weaknesses are gone in her. Judy is the first person in the history of her family to have no family history. Think about that one.
Yes, we need to repeat that. Say that one more time so the people out there can get it.
She is the first person in the history of her family to have no family history. Now, that's a little bit facetious, but I mean no negative family history. 90% of the world has the frequency of hereditary cancer. Actually, 92%. She doesn't. Around 90% of the world has a frequency of heart disease. She doesn't. And then there's MS and diabetes and this and that, and on and on and on and on and on. She doesn't. She has no weaknesses. That's what the AIM program does. It helps you heal everything until you have healed every potentially fatal flaw.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. I don't want to stop you.
No. And now the question becomes, then what? I mean, so Judy expects someday to transition. When is that day supposed to occur, and why? We are told it's supposed to be 70 or whatever. Well, we'll see about that. Now, in all fairness, if I tell you I expect to live to be 150 and I'm only half that now, you can say, yeah, right, sure, good. Good luck, Steve. But if I reach 145 and say it, I probably am going to have your attention.
That means I'll still be around too.
Well,
if I can ask you that.
I know if you're on the program, you will get rid of every hereditary imbalance you have. I mean, I know a little bit about them already, as you know.
Yes.
So, yes, they will be gone. They will be gone. Whatever you got from your mother, whatever you got from your father, will be gone. Now, I'm not, as I said to you before, I'm not suggesting it, but theoretically, if you were, let's say a year from now, if you were to have a child, there would be no hereditary weaknesses in that child.
Well, this is what I want. This is what I want to say. Judy, what are you saying? I'm not done yet. Tell Stephen I'll be right behind you. Okay, so she'll be 140. She'll be, women live longer. She's going to make it to 160. But but when you speak about these Humpty Dumpty, you crack an egg, you have these fault lines, you have these weaknesses. I think also the Earth itself, the planet, has fault lines, which are very natural to its being, its weaknesses, places where stress is released. And I'm just curious to know, everyone on the planet isn't on the AIM program, even though it would be lovely. So as the people who are on the AIM program strengthen their hereditary weaknesses or build them up and are able to recover quickly from illness,
They heal them.
I'm sorry? They
heal them.
They heal them. So we're not going to be susceptible to those diseases which our parents were susceptible. So the question is, do we pull the energy of the planet up higher, or do all the other folks who are scroveling around and trying to make it through, the hardships, do they bring us down, or do we pull them up?
Well, there is a question of critical mass. In physics, it's often referred to as the first monkey theory. You familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Right. Well, how many is it?
But
take to affect the entire
folks
planet?
out there, the folks out there may not know the monkey theory. You want to tell them?
Well, yeah, sure. Basically, it's simple. If you teach a monkey a trick or how to get out of a maze, fine, you've got an educated monkey. If you teach another one, then you got two. Eventually, if you teach enough, suddenly it becomes part of monkey knowledge. And every monkey on the planet gets it, and they can all solve that maze without any teaching. It's kind of like, I was a pretty good athlete as a kid, but when I tried to get on, what do you call it? What are those things with wheels?
Training wheel? What?
No, it doesn't matter.
Squirrel cage.
Squirrel cage. He says it's a squirrel cage.
Wheel.
No? A board, I just fell on my ass. The point is, kids now are born with a propensity for computers. It's become part of what they're born knowing.
Yeah.
They're born with a propensity to be able to use things like rollerblades. It becomes part of them. They have become the 100th monkey. How many does it take before that happens? It's not a linear 100, obviously. How many does it take? We don't know. So I have absolutely no idea. I was thinking of, the term was a skateboard I was trying to think of. My wife just walked up to me, looked at me and said, skateboard. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you get on a skateboard, you know what? From there, make an appointment to the ER. You'll need it.
That's because you need some AIM energetic balancing. You have to do the balance.
That's because it's alien to you. But it's not alien to your kid. They jump up and down. They do cartwheels on it.
Some kids.
That's just the way it is. Well, most. It's part of their culture, just as computers are. And but I don't want to get too far afield with this. So, what was your question, Debbie? Again,
did I have a question?
Well, yeah, it was. You asked about the 100th monkey theory.
Yeah.
How many does it take before it becomes just common knowledge in the species?
Right.
I mean, that was the basis of the original experiments were with roundworms, plumeria. And they taught these worms to go through a maze to get food. And then they were called educated worms. And then they had worms that weren't educated, and they ground up the educated worms, they ground up their brains and fed them to the uneducated worms. And they learned a lot more quickly because they digested these educated brains. Then somebody fed them the tails, and the same thing happened. And that's how they said in roundworms, memory occurs in every cell in the body, not just the brain. Then they found that it's true of rats and mice, etc. It's true of all of us. Memory occurs in our entire body. This is part of the studies of memory. And it does go to the 100th monkey theory also.
I would like to invite Dr. Sharma to say something. I know he's in New Delhi and he is having a blast listening to you. He thinks this is really a lot of fun. I hope that healing is fun and that the trays are being taken care of by the 60,000 people are already getting these treatments in the trays and
They're already getting this assistance in healing themselves. Let's be politically correct.
Okay. Whenever we do the Health In Show and Homeopathy World Community, we are based in education, creating waves of awareness. And whether we touch one person's life today or we touch 100 or 1,000 people, to just provide information. This is my aim. This is my goal. And I keep having to remind myself every day that this is why I get up in the morning, that opening somebody's eyes to a new thought that can maybe move them in a direction toward better health, toward freedom, toward self-empowerment, making good decisions, standing up for what they believe, helping another person, being service to another person on the planet. That is why I am here, and probably the exact same thing for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're in this together. Obviously, what we are basically is we are messengers. And
Yes.
so we have a message, we relay that message, and then you can't stay around and see what happens. You go and deliver your message to someone else, and someone else, and someone else. Once you deliver that message, whoever receives it, it's then their responsibility to act one way or another, to act on it or not. It's now up to them. You have done your share.
Well, you know what?
We are exactly.
Go ahead, Dr. Sharma.
We are exactly just transforming the energy, not delivering messages or not doing anything. We are just transforming the energy from one to another. And this is the motto of SWC or us, that we are transforming the positive energy through the internet or through the phones or through the video calling or through the health show. Everyone, and in each thing we are just transforming one by one. So in the one phase, you just told about the examination of the physician. Many times a patient is come with a feeling of swelling in a part of hand. He's not getting a swelling, but he's just feeling a swelling in the hand, and he wants that physician is touch his swelling. And many times I seen that swelling is gone by touching my hand only, and he just said, "Doctor, I got a relief even by the placebos." So this is the transforming of the positive energy.
And you know what? You were mentioning a moment ago. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Yes, we are transforming this energy, that you give the message and they take the message, or if they don't take the message will still keep coming back to them. It's kind of maybe what a lot of people say, it's an opportunity, whether it's missed or it's not, or a lesson that you're supposed to learn on this planet, or you either learn it, or if you don't learn it, it's going to keep sticking with you. You're going to keep having to learn it in whatever. Yes.
Absolutely. So so many people. I've spoken all over the world. I don't run around I don't run around lecturing anymore or speaking anymore because it gets old. But I've spoken to people, and they've looked at me, and they've even come up to me afterward and said, "Mr. Lewis, that was pure gibberish." And I've never heard anything so far-fetched in my life. I go, fine. That's your conclusion. Be happy with it. Whatever.
They didn't get the message.
And then I met some of those same people a month later, years later, who said, "You know what? One day I suddenly thought I went, wow, wait, I get it. That's what he meant." And then they acted upon it. And this is common, this is routine, and that's it. You can't, it's kind of like trying to discuss the power of prayer. There's nothing you can say to convince people about it. You can only tell them what you know, share what you know, and then move on. They will get it then, or they'll get it someday, or they won't get it. It is not your responsibility. It is theirs. Yours is to be a messenger, and that's what we do.
Well, I'm going to review some of these slides to bring us to the end of today's show. So if we can look at slide number 11, It's the QED, the Quantum Consciousness Evaluation Device that you use. While evaluations are no longer necessary as people access all balancing energies known, the initial life force is checked, and again twice the first of the year to assure it rises and then reaches 100. And you're on a scale of 0 to 100 that we're talking about. There is evaluation demonstrations on the website to look at on slide 12. Quote, the entire set of energetic information available in the individual is also available in their photograph. The next slide, and that's why you use a person's picture. Over 500,000 AIM balancing frequencies, and I've spoken to you previously and said that we've got maybe 5,000 or 6,000 homeopathic resonant frequencies or energies, but you have really gathered a lot more frequencies. The hereditary, karmic, foundational, and etiological emotional imbalances. So you're talking about a person's imbalances, their chronic and their acute conditions, other man-made energies, the aerosol imbalances, and you know we have lots of toxins in our environment. Then there's the anti-aging and enhancing frequencies such as mental clarity, courage, and prosperity. And today we have things like Alzheimer's is at an all-time record high, unconditional love, perpetual gratitude, self-acceptance, ability to accept love, and more. And we're kind of talking like the Dalai Lama here. And then we have protection frequencies, and we need to be to have that kind of shield for us. I'm moving kind of quickly now. Slide number 14, the QID, the Quantum Consciousness Imprinting Device, aka the AIM trays. And every time we mention trays, this is where your hologram, your photograph is placed on a tray for the evaluation and the energy balancing. The balancing frequencies are transmitted via the computer banks to the metal trays where your digitalized photo is in contact 24/7. You don't have to think about it. You're constantly being tweaked. You're constantly having your energy rebalanced or put into a better place. And boy, if I thought about that whenever I was consciously aware and awake, it probably would help me to move more quickly to a better place, to think. It's almost like God energy. I hate to say it. You know, like if you put God before you at all times, you will always be shining in the light. So you select those you need to and bypass those you don't. So that is a little, maybe in another show, we'll talk about how the selection process works. And so go to the website, the AIM website, to see the video tour. Slide number 15. I'm doing all the talking for you. I hope you don't mind.
No, go ahead. I'm having coffee.
Oh, great. Take it easy. The aim of energetic balancing is to give the body enough energy to use its own wisdom and resources to provide a state of well-being. I'm kind of being the spokesperson for Stephen today. Slide 16, enhanced well-being includes our physicality, mentality, emotionally, and spirituality. This is the same exact thing that we say about homeopathy. It had gotten to the point where everyone was simply living with these symptoms as if they were an expected part of life. How many people have you heard say that? This is just part of life. Or your physician say, well, you have these headaches, just get used to it. Instead of impediments on the road to true well-being. Well, there's nothing that we need to accept if the potential for healing everything is there. Slide number 17. After 6 months or so, the primary phase of our energetic detox was over. And this is a quote from the book, The Story in The Path to Consciousness. Max didn't itch. I wasn't angry. And Jennifer reached the highest athletic performance levels of her life. And for each of us, our life force and consciousness levels took quantum leaps to the highest levels of our lives. And so you're talking about a person who was, I would say, near death and had recovered due to the AIM program And, it's not as if you get your photo on a tray and you're all better. You have to do work in your life as well. So I don't want to make it sound that easy. The slide 18, EMC Squared founders are Stephen and Buster, Roberta and Toby, Evan and Bud. It looks like they have their kitty cats with them, and they love to ride horses.
No, the cats and horses and dogs are not founders, I assure you. The program, it was revealed to me, done by me, created by me. Roberta and Evan are part of the founders also. They have their particular work. Evan maintains the hardware primarily. Roberta runs the office. Roberta is also a homeopath, by the way.
It's nice to know.
Yeah, and we have our areas of expertise. Finding imbalances and balancing frequencies is my job. That's what I do. And I'm never going to be done because everything is energy, and everything is energy shaped by consciousness. So if I say there's 500,000 frequencies, there could have been 5 million or 50. Everything has its own frequency in consciousness. There is no foreseeable end. One of my fantasies is at the very end of my life, I'll sit up there and say, I've got it together, finally, and then I'll transition.
Whoa.
Because
you put Humpty together again.
There is no end. There's always more, and there always will be. If I said 500,000, I could have said I meant 1 million. I meant 2 million. I meant 5. It doesn't matter. Everything has its frequency and its footprint. And in consciousness, consciousness is what we use to create life for better or for worse. And we speak about cancer, heart disease, this, that's for worse. If we speak about well-being, etc., that's for better. But and here's the thing, it is fundamentally within our control. That is what's most important. We can create the lives we want. We are empowered to do so. For some reason, we have lost sight of that, and we must get that back. It's imperative that we get that back because we've reached a point where only we, acting as empowered beings, can help ourselves, and save our future on the planet. It's become that critically important. That has to do with many things, and one of them is technology. And I like technology, but technology must serve spirituality. If technology creates poisons for people, if it creates a negative, it's not progress, it's not technology. It must serve spirituality. And that's all part of what we must come together with our consciousness and learn. We need a higher consciousness. And I think that is going to be more and more apparent by the day. And that is our only answer, our only salvation, a higher consciousness.
I see we're echoing. That's really beautiful. So I want to refresh people's memory here at the end. If you've come in late to the show, on slide 21, there is this opportunity to receive a free sanctuary book to the first 40 listeners on the Northern Hemisphere, whatever, in North America. If you go there to www.aimprogram.com/aiminfokit.php, You can put into the box your address, your required information in the drop-down menu, put Debbie B or Health In to receive this book free of charge. If you're outside, you will have to pay for shipping. And also make sure you enter either paperback or audio CDs and the best time to contact you if you need shipping. And that's a really wonderful opportunity. I want to thank you. It's been a joy, a pleasure, very entertaining to speak with you today about awakening our consciousness, about self-healing, about balancing our frequencies and removing blocks to cure, removing the miasms or whatever it is that's holding us back from fulfilling our mission and being our true self. And I want to thank Judy out there for spending so many hours preparing, even though if I threw it all out the window because I'm very spontaneous in the way we do these shows. I think we covered everything anyway. And I want to thank Amnon, who's a dear producer, Dr. Deepak Sharma for always being our partner in India and across the globe, for maintaining Homeopathy World Community, for the listeners, the viewers who have taken time to join us, to tweet it, Facebook it, put it in their email, share it. We will have the archives of today's show for listeners. In terms of next week, March 25th, I think Amnon might be rebroadcasting something, or who knows if I'll decide at the last moment to do something, but I'm going to be preparing for Passover. The following week is Easter. After that, April 8th, Renita Herman is going to talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, trauma, which happens to be the World Homeopathy Awareness Week in April's theme, trauma, traumatic brain injury. And April 15th, we're going to have the famous Misha Norland talking about spirit and homeopathy. April 22 for Earth Day, Dr. Robert Brock, my other half, will talk. I know he gets many thousands of listeners. Upcoming this week, Wednesday at 10:30 a.m., Dr. Adil Chimtalawala Kasim from India is our heart health master guru, and we are going to be talking about second half of exotosis, bone growths, and he has a PowerPoint. We started that last week. It's great learning about homeopathic remedies. Thursday at 1 to 2:30 p.m. Alan Phillips, attorney at law, expert in the vaccines and your rights in America arena, will talk about the legalities and current news about vaccinations. I will speak about from 2:30 to 3 Thursday, that's Eastern Time USA, fear, emotional stress, and homeopathy. I think it's an incredible topic today. So I think we've come to the end of our show. I want to thank everyone sending waves of awareness, lots of love. See you next Monday. And Dr. Sharma, are you going to say your goodbyes?
Yes, thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Debbie. Thanks for Amnon to do this show. I really enjoy this, the transforming of energy. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 8 till 9 p.m. One Chic Mama with Mary Michelle, Wednesdays, 4 till 5 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by thatvidblasterguy.com, carolinaapparel.com, and deltaforce.net.